What can I say? I had a little extra time today. Hey, hi, hello, friends. How are you? If I look familiar at all, it's probably because you recognize me from my last video. That was the one where I was talking about Chantel's deleted live. This will be addressing Amber's last week, not this week. This week, I'm hoping I can get it out a little bit earlier, maybe like Saturday or Sunday. But let's see. I always intend to get my videos out earlier, and then it never actually happens that way. Now, I had some time left over in the evening. I know it's kind of late, but I still wanted to get this done. I figured today is as good a time as any. Let's get into it. Amber has, well, I wouldn't say it's exactly interesting, but it's definitely less boring than it was before. So I did want to talk about it. I've condensed both of her videos, New Wifey and Francis, What You Mean, down into a 10 minute and 29 second clip. And so we're going to react to that. Go.
Did you hear that? Shane Dawson is posting again. Thoughts. Welcome to Stream Queens Minor. Thoughts on that? I'll definitely watch because I'm curious what's going on. That's really, I don't really know what to say about it.
So Chantel has always been, Amber has always been notoriously tight-lipped when it comes to other content creators on the channel. I think it's just mostly because she doesn't want blowback from the fans. I don't think some of the content creators that she talks about, I think they're way too large to ever really take notice of Amber, but I don't think she wants the blowback from the fans. When it comes to Shane Dawson, I don't know how to feel. I never really watched any of their content. Actually, yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a single one of Shane Dawson's things. So, Shane Dawson, David Dobrik. Both of those people. I'm confusing which one is which right now in my head. That's how little I really know about them. I know of the situation surrounding them. I know more about the controversy than I do about them. But their content is what I'm confusing. I've never really watched either one of their stuff, so I don't really know. Now, even if Amber felt a certain way, I really think she would not go into detail here. She is way too like non-compliant and not compliant, but like way too like pacifistic to really say anything that might upset anybody either way. For me personally, I think that both of those individuals should stay gone from the internet. They've made enough money, enough of a name for themselves, that they should have plenty of opportunities going forward in life. I don't think they need YouTube anymore. And I think that honestly it was doing a lot more harm to their reputation now than good. I think that the name that they had made for themselves has become toxic, and I don't see any reason why they should continue on here, especially because it's not exactly like they're being silenced, right? They can come back in other forms. They can release something else. They can do something else. They can, I don't know, start a podcast or something like that. Just stop what you're doing now, end it all together, and do something different. A good example of taking accountability for your actions and just understanding that maybe the internet is doing things that are not great for you is Jenna Marbles, who made a commitment to not going on the internet, and she just didn't. And I think that's how you should do it. Sorry about my hair, by the way. I can't seem to get it to a state where I like it. I put like new stuff into it after I washed it, and it's awful.
He's done some really bad things in the past, and it's like I constantly think of things like, okay, if it's in the past, it's in the past, and people do change, and I don't want to justify what he did because there's no justification, like it's all like horrible and gross, but it's just like who you are a year ago, you could be a completely different person, so let alone years ago. So it just makes it all so like confusing in my head. Like, I don't know.
I think the best way to judge whether or not they're still the same person is to look at whether or not they've displayed growth in all other areas of their life. And it's a good way to tell. Like, people will bring up stuff that others have done in the past 10, 12 years ago as if it has any relevance on the person they have now. I'm not saying that what they do then doesn't matter now, but if they have shown no history of that kind of behavior going forward, those actions don't matter. People learn, people grow. Even without saying sorry, if you can display better behavior, then that's all that really needs. Nobody needs this. Sorry doesn't fix anything. It doesn't do anything. A sorry is a meaningless word. What matters is the actions behind it. What matters is the intent behind it. And if you've already displayed that intent, if you've already changed your behavior and done things for the better, then what does it matter whether you've said the word sorry or not? And I'm talking about when you say something that offends a group of people and not something like you, I don't know, like relentlessly bullied one person. They probably would want to hear sorry. But if the accusation here is that, you maybe had, negative views, like bigoted views about your audience, or maybe if you were like toxic to work for, then as long as you've shown growth, it doesn't necessarily mean anything if you've said sorry to apologize for an action that's already passed, that you've already addressed. That sorry is like irrelevant. If it's not, if the thing is still happening, right? Like if you're talking about like Jeffree Star is still toxic. He's still pretty much a garbage person. So if he says, well, I'm sorry about the stuff I did in the past, but he's shown no growth since then.
I noticed when I was at my friend's house this weekend, I don't look as jaundiced as I do in this apartment. So I don't know if it's the lighting or what it is, but it definitely made me feel a little bit better, because I'm telling you, in every single room in their house did not look jaundiced. So that did make me feel a little bit better.
I think the best way to tell if you're jaundiced is maybe to go see a doctor. A doctor will be able to tell you if you're jaundiced.
But which lighting is the real lighting? That's the real question.
I think the best way to tell is to check your bilirubin levels if you think you're jaundiced. But also, sunlight is probably your best bet.
What are your opinion on hate groups about you? I think it's odd. Like some of the things that, because you guys have to realize, like some of these hate groups are super popular, like the ones where you have to like be approved or whatever. Like there's gonna be people who rat y'all out, and some of the things that I get sent to me inside of those groups, I'm just like, these people are crazy. Like there's a difference between like sharing a common interest of disliking someone and discussing their life, but like some of the things that I've been sent is just like so weird to me. Like,
okay, so a couple things. One, don't be sending her things. Don't send her things. Don't send Chantel things. As much as I want some of the criticisms that I have for her and for other people to have for them to reach Amber, she has to be in a mindset to actually accept criticism. Simply saying things to somebody isn't helpful. It's just mean at that point, right? Especially if you're doing it in a harsh manner. But I think you have to be receptive of the criticism that you are receiving for it to make any kind of difference. It's a similar concept to buy-in for therapy. If you're willing to admit that you have flaws, you can look at what a person is saying and take the takeaway from that of, okay, this is what my part in this action was. Here's how I can improve it. Amber is not in that phase of her life. She is not willing to accept any kind of criticism right now. So anything we give her is not going to be helpful. And quite frankly, I don't think she's ever going to be in that receptive stage of mind until she has seen a therapist. Because I think a therapist is really the only one who will be able to get her to that place where she can accept that some part of this is on her. Beyond that, if you are part of a hate group where you need permission to join, that sounds a little weird to me. Also, I don't know what she classifies as a hate group. Is it just like a channel on on Facebook, for example, where you can just discuss Amber and Chantel or whatever? Or is it like a dedicated group that like everybody loathes and detests her? Because I know she'd think I fall into that category too. And I don't hate Amber. If I hate anybody, it would be Chantel. But I don't even hate Chantel most of the time. Outside of a few really nasty incidences, I don't hate either one of them. Hate's a very strong emotion. It has a lot of like energy devoted to it. I don't have that kind of energy for these people. I don't know them. I don't give a crap.
The rumors and the lies and like the speculation is crazy. Like the new one I found out a few days ago is that I'm adding like a thin filter to my live streams. How?
That's just funny to me because that implies a level of effort that I swear Amber has never displayed for her videos in her entire life. So the fact that somebody is like sitting out there being like, oh yeah, Amber's putting in so much effort into her content, she's making herself look thinner on stream. No. Also, you guys got to remember, Amber is a very petitely built woman. She's got narrow shoulders. She's got a relatively thin face. And her frame is not really meant to support this kind of weight. That's why if you look at her, she looks very like round, like she holds her weight in the center of her body, right? So she's got the stomach and the butt. But because she doesn't have a lot of bone, like I'm a very wide built lady. I don't know if that's very apparent in the videos, but even beyond being fat, I have very wide shoulders. Like I'm built like a quarterback. So is my brother, but it looks good on him. It looks a little weird on me. I have like very big hands, very big feet, and I'm not like a super tall lady or anything like that. I'm like 5'5.5", almost 5'6", so it's a little weird. Amber is very, very petite. She's like 5'3", and she's got very narrow shoulders. That's why a lot of times stuff doesn't fit her correctly up here, even though it fits the rest of her body. She's got very narrow shoulders. She's got pretty small feet and pretty small hands. And if she loses the weight, she'd probably be a very like narrow, slim figure. Because of the way that the weight is distributed on her and because of the way her structure is built, she doesn't hold a lot of it up here. So if you're only shooting from like here to like here, she's gonna look thinner. I look how I look. I don't really know how it comes across on camera. It's hard for me to judge, mostly because I know the reality of my own situation. But I've also said several times, I am disproportionately built. I have lipedema in my legs, so I tend to hold a lot more of the weight down here than I do up here. So you can't necessarily judge what I look like just by looking up here. But it's also not naturally how I'm built. It's more that I have a condition that I can't really do anything about, you know? Anyway.
I've never heard of it. I wish.
Yes, I also wish that she had the level of effort required to add a filter to her videos.
I don't know, it's so weird. A pluviophile is someone who is happier when it rains. Like the rain like makes them happy, kind of like the sun makes other people happy.
I saw this on her bio and it made me kind of laugh. I know what a pluviophile is, mostly because it's one of those word of the day calendar things. It was once the word of the day. That's how I know it. That said, using it in your description makes you sound like you're trying to be pretentious. Like I have a friend who, well, to be very honest, partner does this to a certain degree too, where he'll buy like special water to make coffee with because he's like, well, you can't just use tap water. You don't know what minerals are dissolved in there. It's the coffee tastes so different if you use this specific type of alkaline water. I've tasted it with alkaline water. I've tasted it with like regular water. It tastes the exact fucking same. It's the beans that are making the difference. But he's a weird dude. He's a weird dude and he's a little pretentious. And you know what? He's fine. I like him. You know, he's got fabulous hair. I'm not too worried about it. It still makes you look a little douchey, right? Which is fine. I don't care. As for the pluviophile thing, I'm glad she likes it better when it rains. I personally also like it better when it's like cloudy and rainy outside, but that's because I burn in direct sunlight. All this melanin is wasted, okay? I burn if I'm in the sunlight for longer than 15 minutes. I have a massive burn on this shoulder here. If I'm ever wearing a sleeveless top, you'll see I have a massive burn on my shoulder. It's like huge. When I was a kid, I'd gone to DC and I'd burned through my shirt and I blistered. And the blisters burst when I sat in the car, like the bus on the ride home from the field trip. And I sat against like the side of the bus and the blisters burst and the shirt stuck to me. And when I went to the nurse's office, the nurse wanted me to take my shirt off because she's like, I need to see what's happening here. She didn't realize, pulled my undershirt up, took all the skin off my shoulder. It's horrifying. That beautiful aside was to let you know, I understand how she feels. I still would not describe myself that way because it just makes me sound pretentious.
Okay, can you explain the rain and petals eavesdrop home? Yes.
Okay, I'm very briefly going to touch on this here. I cut all of that out. So that's the only part I left in here so people understand. If you guys don't know what the rain and petals eavesdrop, the Rain and Petal poem is about. It's about her and her then ex-girlfriend, now I guess technically ex-boyfriend, Casey. I'm not going to get into it here. I've said before that I have how I feel about the situation pretty much in my head. I don't know if anything she said here really changed my mind or swayed my mind one way or the other. But I also know that when it comes to assault accusations, the idea that you could not be believed is one of the reasons people don't come forward. And I don't want anyone to think that I would not believe them because I have a certain belief about what I think happened with Amber and with Casey. So I've said before that I don't want to discuss it anymore, and I won't discuss it here. She said she doesn't want to discuss it anymore, but she continuously goes back on her word. I won't be discussing it though. If it comes up again in the future in another live stream, I might mention that, hey guys, just remember, I'm not talking about it, just so if there's any new members who are watching, they know where my stance is on that. I'm not skipping over it. I'm choosing not to address this issue. I don't think there's anything to be won here. Casey has already moved on from this situation. If this is a situation that still impacts Amber, then I don't know if there's anything that can legally be done, but she needs to go talk to a therapist to address it internally, much like with a lot of her other issues. So it's literally like a no-win situation by discussing it here. With a lot of her other stuff, I have either commentary or my own anecdotes to add, or just ways in which someone in a similar situation could improve. But in this one particular case, I don't think that's true. And on the off chance that I am wrong, which you guys know, I don't know the truth. I only have my opinions on here. I don't want to cause her or anybody else any more pain by maybe making it sound like she shouldn't say what she's saying. So with all of that very long drawn out intro said, let's move on.
Becky and I as friends is good. Like I vibe with it very well. I'm enjoying being single. Like if I'm being 100% honest. So I didn't realize like.
Okay, so she says that I'm enjoying being single, and I'm not necessarily doubting that she's enjoying being single, because after that rush of like, oh my God, I'm going to miss this person, blah, 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 you can sometimes get this like euphoric afterthought of, oh, I don't have to deal with that anymore. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It's a nice feeling sometimes, right? Especially when it is a little bit more mutual than it is one-sided. That's not how she made it out to be in the beginning, so I'm a little confused at this like change of heart. All that said, I still think that it's fine for her to be relieved that her and Becky are like friends and that it's working well, and I'm glad that it's working well. Just keep in mind that Becky hasn't actually left the apartment. They're still doing all the things that they were doing before. I mentioned this in another video, I think the last video that I did on Amber, that all the things that her and Becky used to do, like play card games together, color together, eat not together, all those things they're still doing and or not doing. Right? The only part of that has changed has been the intimate stuff. And Amber has said multiple times that Becky is not as affectionate as Destiny was. So that could just be something that she's not even missing all that much. So has all of that changed? The only thing I see here is that she's still getting most of the benefits of being in a relationship with Becky. But the one thing that she isn't getting, she'll admit later on that she's getting A, from someone else, but B, she doesn't get any of the commitment or the responsibility. That literally sounds like what Chantel wants.
How unhappy I guess I was. Like being in a relationship where it didn't even really feel like a relationship. Sorry, I'm in the mirror checking, making sure my makeup's all like smeared and crazy, but
I know a lot of people are going to look at her doing something like that and they're going to feel that it's dismissive, but I think that that is a way that she distanced herself from the topic that she's discussing. Discussing a breakup can be pretty difficult. It can be pretty painful, especially for a relationship that has progressed as far as engagement and potential marriage, right? For it to have ended must be really painful for Amber. So I think she's like, oh dear, this is hard. Let me see my makeup or something like that, just to give her a little bit of a moment to breathe, to collect her thoughts a little bit more, to collect herself a little bit more. And as far as, being unhappy in the relationship, I don't know. It's really hard to say because she's flip-flopping so hard, and it comes across like she is going back and retroactively changing her mind about what certain situations meant or what certain situations were like, and disregarding her initial opinions on it because now she wants it to fit a narrative. Because it's a very sudden flip-flop, right? Like, she said multiple times that, like, Becky should feel bad about leaving her, that she was willing to marry her, that she would have done therapy with her, that she loves her. She doesn't know why it's happening. It came out of the blue. But now she's sitting here and she's saying that, well, you know, it's relieving and I'm happy and I'm enjoying being single. Not to say that it can't happen. It's just, it's pretty stark, the difference. And she doesn't seem to have concrete reasons as to why. Like, even before, when they broke up, if you were unhappy in a relationship, you would have at least been able to say, I can see where you're coming from. But she puts so much of the blame onto Becky, so much of the burden onto Becky, that now any, like, disappointment or unhappiness that she expresses with the relationship, it just comes across as phony.
I hate that you have to worry about everything all the time, and you do try to make things right, but even if you said the right things at the right time, at this point, some people will be critical forever. Yeah. It's gonna be like that literally forever. That's majorly hard for me to, like, wrap my head around that. Like, literally there's nothing that I could, like, possibly do.
The thing is about having done shitty things in the past and now being a different person, and I had to accept this the hard way around. Just because you're a better person than you were in the past doesn't mean that the people that you hurt by your shitty behavior have to forgive you. No, you aren't owed anybody's forgiveness. You aren't owed anybody's acceptance, anybody's closure. You're not owed that when you are the bad guy in that relationship, quote unquote, right? Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's not linear, it's a spectrum. But when you were the one who caused the pain, you don't then get to demand what happens afterwards. Whether the person accepts your apology or not is entirely up to them. Whether the person chooses to move on from that or not is entirely up to them. Whether it's harmful to them or not. Sometimes I think holding on to negative memories like that can be harmful for the person who was hurt, because it just causes you to become hurt over and over and over again. It's like not pulling out a thorn in your foot, right? And just continuing to walk on it. But that doesn't mean that if you are the one who put the thorn there, that you get to dictate how they take it out or if they take it out. That's all on them. So I can understand that it's frustrating, especially when you're a content creator and you're on the internet, but that doesn't mean that you get to tell people how they can and cannot deal with your shitty past behavior. Some people might forgive you and move on. You might attract a newer audience and they might be okay with what you've done because they didn't experience it firsthand. There might be a ton of old people too who've been watching for a while and they're like, you know what, I think she's earned it, and forgive you. But not everybody has to. And it can't just be that, oh, well, if you don't forgive me, don't watch. This is a public platform. They can do what they want. If you don't want people watching your videos, even people who don't like you, then don't put it up on the internet, or only put it up behind a paywall on, like, OnlyFans or something like that. But if you're putting it up here, understand people who like you and dislike you will watch it. They will have opinions, and they might not forgive you. Some people might not forgive you, and that's okay, because you did shitty things in the past. When you do shitty things, there's going to be a reaction.
I think I am, or the evil person that they think I am.
Sorry about that. There might be a little bit of a repeat in what she said. My computer had issues, and so I had to deal with them. Anyway, what I was saying was that one of the issues that I have with her is her continued mistreatment of the animals, because regardless of what her personal condition is, she should be doing what's best for them. A lot of times what we'll hear from her is, hey, I, got to build up my stamina so that I can take care of them myself the way that they deserve to be treated. Cool. Understand that. But in the meantime, you need to find somebody else to walk your dog. You need to take your cat to the vet. Stuff like that. If you can't do it, you need to make sure that it's done by paying for it to be done. Because that's what it takes when you are a pet owner. And she hasn't been like that. If you guys remember, one of the things that really pissed me off, because this happened in real time with me, not like some of the other stuff with Destiny, which I only caught up to after, right? When she was already with Becky. Sorry, my nose is itchy. I'm like moving it around a little. When Twinkie Star had been in pain, when there was something wrong, Twinkie was shaking in pain, and she left Twinkie at home by himself so that she could go to an Applebee's, a fucking Applebee's of all things. And then she had the nerve to come back on and say that there were no emergency vets open. Ma'am, you live in Lexington, okay? You don't live in the middle of nowhere. This is not fucking Night Vale. There's going to be an emergency vet open. Like, it's ridiculous. And that's why I have so much of an issue when she says that, you know, I'm not the evil person you think I am. I don't think she's evil. And as much as I dislike Chantel, I don't think Chantel is evil either. But that doesn't make you a good person. This is not like a binary situation where it's like yes or no, right? This is a spectrum, like with most things in life. You might not be like a serial killer like Jeffrey Dahmer. You might not be like a maniac, but that doesn't mean that you're a good person. Right? That's a very low bar to have crossed. I still think that you're a shitty person. I think that you are entitled, that you have extremely low self-esteem that manifests as narcissism in turns. I think that you have a problem of taking care of your pets. I think you're unwilling to address any of your issue and you make yourself the victim of society. It doesn't mean that you're evil. It means that you're fucked up and that you're unwilling to admit that you're fucked up. Simple as that.
Because it is, probably more entertaining to hate me. Okay, so
I mean, that I won't lie about. I'm sure there's a ton of people out there who devote a lot of their energy into hating her. People who make like multiple accounts so they can spam her. I don't understand that. I watch Amber kind of casually the same way that I watch Chantel, which is like I appreciate what's happening in their life from a distance. Amber I've been less engaged with because one of the biggest things for me for her was that I wanted to see her lose weight and get healthy. And she isn't putting any of that content up. So I'm a little bit less engaged with her than I am with Chantel at the moment.
The title says New Wifey because it's a joke. Do I have someone currently calling me Wifey? Yeah, I do. I'm gonna be honest. But it's not like that, I promise. Like, it's no relationship is happening at all. I can promise you that.
I mean, she's saying that, but we have all said, like a majority of the reaction channels, myself included, has said that, you know, she'll find someone before Becky is really even out of her life fully. That's been a pattern with her. The biggest indicator of future behavior is past behavior. And with Amber, a lot of it tends to be that, you know, I found the next Mrs. Reid before the previous Mrs. Reid has even had a chance to, you know, let the bed cool down. So I'm not surprised. Now, does that mean this person will be like a long-term fixture in her life the way that Becky was? Not necessarily. But that doesn't mean that she's not going to find someone to fill all of the emotional void that Becky is going to leave behind. That's one of the biggest things for Amber, is finding someone who she can trauma dump onto, the way that she was doing with Becky. Someone she can put all of her feelings and emotions onto that she should actually be addressing with a therapist. Someone who can, I don't know, drive her around from place to place. Let's see. I'm not saying that that New Wifey is going to be that person, but it really would not surprise me if she ended up getting a lot more serious with New Wifey than she means to.
And it's not what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking like something crazy. I can already tell. Oh my God. Oh, I can already see it. I shouldn't have said anything. It really is like an inside joke though.
Okay, if you've got an inside joke, then keep it on the inside. Unless you're willing to explain the origins of it. I told you guys before that my channel name is a little bit of a joke, right? It's an inside joke that I have with my friends, and I thought it was cute, well, with partner and with my family, right? I thought it was adorable, and that's why I used it. And I've explained the story before. If you guys don't know, my name, the significance of my name is that my grandmother planted night blooming jasmines right outside her house when I was born in honor of me there, and she literally called me Rat Ki Rani, which is what those little jasmines are called. It means Queen of the Night. And the sequel, because Jasmine already has a Disney movie, as you guys know, Aladdin, she's part of that. And so I was like, well, you know, I'm sure they're going to give her own spin-off at some point, so then my story is going to have to be Jasmine's the sequel, right? Because I can't be the original, because she's going to get her own story. So that's where that comes from. And as for relatable, I think I was telling partner something, and he turns around to me and he says, you know, you're not as relatable as you think you are. And that's where, and I am not relatable comes from. It's a joke, but it's one I'm willing to explain. If you've got inside jokes, great. It's great to have them. It's great to have things that make you giggle every time with your friends because it's got a personal significance to them. But then don't put it on your channel. Because if you don't want to explain them to us and you don't want us speculating, then don't put it out there. But she's doing this on purpose. This is to bait her audience. And Becky isn't in this live stream. She isn't in the next live stream. And she isn't even in the one that we just saw today on Tuesday, which is, by the way, when I'm recording this. So if she wasn't in any of those live streams, that means that I think Becky is done being on live streams. And it seems very weird to me, this weird coincidence that we have the rise of new Wifey at the same time as Becky seems to be gone from the channel. And if I remember correctly, Becky had very clearly addressed that if Amber got into a relationship right away after they broke up, that she would be upset and that she wouldn't want to be friends with Amber. And I can't help but feel that that's kind of what's happening right now.
Just calm down now, I promise.
I mean, you're the one who's making a big deal out of it. Just calm down now. You just didn't have to mention it. You didn't have to mention it. You didn't have to label this new wife. You didn't have to do all that. You did it. Now own up to it.
Can you explain why you think you got so much backlash from Shrimpgate?
Ooh,
I think a
Shrimpgate.
lot of people were angry because during that time I said that I wasn't going to talk about my weight loss anymore. So a lot of people got really angry about that, and I was like smug about it, whatever. My cat. I do think that is my choice and my opinion, and I still stand by that.
Okay. The reason people got so mad at Shrimpgate was because she came on here being, I know everything, Lynn, saying, I can eat this whole thing. It's really low calorie. I know what I'm doing. At the same time, she's out here quitting program after program, you know, going back and forth between what she wants to do, making no obvious headway. And people got fed up with her. And her attitude in that video was disgusting. I think I have a retro react to it. If I do, I'll see if I can link it up above. But genuinely, it was infuriating to watch her smug ass in that video. Okay? Like, if you go back and watch it, you'll get it. She was like the worst attitude. I think this is when she was getting like some of the best money. And she was like obnoxious to watch. I can understand if that wasn't your intent. She's like, I was smug about it or whatever, but genuinely you were smug about it. You were smug and unlikable, and it made it hard to watch you. And when you're already doing things on your channel that people don't approve of, and you come across as being bitchy and smug, you damn right people are gonna leave. I'm not sure what you expected.
I think the whole let's unsubscribe to Amberlynn, this has pillows in it, this bag. Let's unsubscribe to Amberlynn thing was more so just like, oh, this is just for funnies, because I lost over like 10,000 subscribers and I gained them all back like a few weeks later. So it was mainly just like I don't know what it was, but people were like upset with me, but I feel like I can't tell anyone when they should or should not be upset.
Okay. People were upset with her because she was no longer doing weight loss content, which is what a lot of people come to Amberlynn's channel to see. Now, yes, she lost the subscribers, and yes, she gained them all back. But the thing that she's not adding here is that she actually came onto a video afterwards apologizing for, you know, why people were so mad, and that, yeah, I understand what you guys mean. I'll keep doing weight loss content. So it wasn't for funnies. People didn't like the direction your channel was going in. They made sure that you knew about it. And then when you knew about it and you said that you were going to change that, they came back. It's as simple as that. It's almost like they didn't like what you were doing. They asked you to change. And when you did, they were more okay with it. If you take that approach to things, then it's fine. But if you are sitting on here acting like, oh, well, I have no idea why people left. I have no idea why they came back. Girl, you're pretending to be a lot more stupid than I think you actually are.
But I mean, if I don't want to talk about something on my channel, I feel like that's okay. I feel like, you know, I should have that option.
And she does. She can absolutely choose to not talk about something on her channel, but that doesn't mean people have to stay, and that doesn't mean people have to like it. You might lose 500,000 subscribers. I know she doesn't have that much, but what I'm saying is you might lose like 50% of your audience or something like that when you change the direction of your channel. That is a risk you take when you deviate from the content they signed up for. People are not always doing it maliciously. Sometimes I just outgrow content, or I outgrow creators. I love certain creators, and I loved them when I was a kid, but I just don't vibe with them anymore, and that's okay. And so I leave. And sometimes it's because they changed the direction of their channels, and sometimes it's because they stagnated. Either way, it's totally okay for me to do so. So when you change the direction of your channel and people decide to leave, that is totally within their right. They can do that. And you can choose to ignore all of that and continue on the path. But what you cannot blame your audience for is not wanting to watch when you make a decision. I don't owe you a view. I don't owe you my subscription. If you're doing something I don't like, it is well within my right to leave. And for you to sit on here and be like, well, it's fat phobic that you don't watch content you don't like, that's so stupid. I don't understand what you're talking about here, Amber.
How are you guys doing?
Oh, sorry, I should have added. This is now the second video. That was the last clip that I had from the first video, New Wifey. That's all I wanted to talk in there. This is the second clip. This is the second video that she had from last week. It's called Frances, What You Mean? And I just want to start this off by saying that I actually really like the way that she looks. I like the softer makeup. Her skin looks really nice. Her hair looks absolutely lovely in this. She looks very pretty here, okay?
When? Inside joke, I promise.
Of course, another inside joke. Haha, so funny, right? Isn't it so funny for all the people involved? It's not at all going to like increase speculation. People aren't going to be curious about why she's saying what she's saying. Nothing of that sort. It's just an inside joke. I don't know why. What do you mean you guys want to know? What do you mean?
Someone's texting me right now, so I'm just going to be honest. Someone's texting me and they're being... I don't know what they're being, but they're being.
Why? See, this is what I mean. You don't want people to talk about it. You don't want people to feel like have this material to react to engage with, to make up stories about or whatever. Then why would you put that out there? Why would you include this information? Don't say anything until it's more solid. Keep it to yourself forever. If this person has no intention of being on camera, if you're sure this person is not the new Mrs. Reid, then why even tell us that they exist? Or she exists. I know that it's going to be a she because that's her preference. I don't know why I said they. Well, maybe they identify as they. I'll just stick to they.
It seems like you're heavily flirting with someone already. No. I mean, I don't like... Okay, so I'm a 30-year-old, and if I want to flirt with someone, like... I should be allowed to, and that's just like the way that I see things.
I don't understand what this concept is of allowed to. Are we there trying to take her phone from her? Are we there saying that if you flirt with somebody, we are going to come and steal all of your hair ties and tacky earrings? Are we there holding Twinkie Star hostage? No, we're not doing any of those things. It's up to you. You can still flirt with her. We can still have thoughts about it. We can still disagree with how you're handling things and the fact that you're flirting with her. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to do what you want. It just means that we have opinions in what you do because you put it on the internet, as it were. So if you don't want the opinions, don't put it on the internet. You're still allowed to do what you want either way. In just one case, you'll have opinions from us. In the other case, you won't. It's as simple as that. And you would think that someone who's been on the internet for 8 years would have known that by now. Funny how that works.
It is what it is. Like, I'm not looking for a relationship or anything like that. So, I mean, that's, you know, it's like whatever.
And that's fine. That's totally fine. She doesn't have to be in a committed relationship to flirt. She doesn't have to be in a committed relationship to see other people, to go on dates, to have sex, whatever she wants to do. It's totally on her. But if you put it on the channel, then we will discuss it. Okay? Because if you get to say it, then we get to say it, right? If you don't want to be silenced, then we don't want to be silenced. If you want to talk about things, then we want to talk about things. That's how that works. You've got the freedom to say whatever you want. We've got the freedom to say whatever we want. So if you don't want us talking about it, don't tell us.
My God. So, yeah.
See? She's still doing it.
You look so guilty. There's no, like, I'm not guilty.
And yet she's acting guilty and giggly. And I do think that this is false. I think that this is put upon. I think that she's doing it more on camera on purpose to draw in the attention of the audience.
It's just people think that they can, like, tell me not to flirt and stuff. And I just think that's so crazy. Like, we only live once.
Yes, you do only live once. Wouldn't it be fun to live it in a way in which you can do all the things physically that you want? Just a thought to consider. Additionally, no one's telling you that you can't flirt. We're saying that, hey, you said you wouldn't flirt. We said that you wouldn't be in a relationship. There's a big difference between pointing out your own hypocrisies and us telling you not to do something. Even if we say you shouldn't be doing that, that's not the same thing as us physically stopping you from doing something. It's just not. We can have an opinion on stuff. Like I said, you don't want the opinion, don't put it on the internet.
And I'm gonna be honest, I've never done the whole like just flirting with someone and not like trying to be in a relationship. Like, I've never done that before, so it's definitely different for me. Because I'm very, I don't know, I just feel like, maybe, never mind, I shouldn't say.
I think that what she wanted to say here was that she's a serial monogamist. She's always looking for the right person. And there's not to say that that's wrong, but I think that the reason she does that is because she's trying to fill an emotional need. That she wants that love, that validation, that attention that she feels like she didn't get when she was younger from the partners that she's with now. And I don't think that's a healthy way to be. I genuinely think that she would do so much better if she would work on herself first before she got herself into a relationship. All that said, I know she's not going to do that. Amber is not big on all of that stuff. I just think it's fine for her to see someone very casually. It's fine for her to not include them on their channel. She can do whatever she wants. She's an adult woman, as long as they're both consenting parties. I don't care what you do. But if you're going to put it on your channel, you have to understand the kind of reaction you're going to get from people. And if you don't want that reaction, don't put it on your channel.
No hate, real talk. What's your opinion on channels like Karina Kaboom, Orange Queen, and Life of a Free Spirit? Yes, they critique, but also wish you best.
Okay. That look that she has, like, okay, here's the thing. I haven't seen a lot of Karina Kaboom. I know of the scandal that started with, like, the Gerard Cosmetics, which is how I think her channel got its initial boost. I know, I think I have watched some of Orange Queen's videos, or maybe it was Trash Queen. I don't remember. But I think I've seen some of their content, but I'm not like a regular subscriber. And as you know, Callie is a friend. I think there is a big difference between people who are on here calling you names, insulting you just to insult you, just to be mean, and people who are out here talking about your content. There are two types of commentary creators that I come across more often than any other kind. The first are people who are here giving advice, who are discussing it, who get into her psychology, stuff like that, like stuff what I do, right? Then there's people like Callie who simply report on the facts and occasionally offer their opinions. I don't think either of these category of people hate you and don't want the best for you. Some of them might express it in a different way, but I don't think either one of them really want bad for you. There is, of course, a third category of creators who are mean, and they're just mean for the sake of being mean, and they're just there to call her belittling names, and that's pretty much it. The problem is that when you choose not to engage with any of the criticisms that any of them are offering, and you lump them all together into that third category, it makes any criticisms you have for that third category so much easier to ignore. Some of the creators that you really hate, you could bring a petition against them and be like, hey, look, guys, I appreciate everything you guys say. I know I don't always change myself for the better, but I'm still trying my best. That said, this person is saying some stuff that's real hurtful. If she approached it from that angle and she was always like honest and kept it 100%, I think she'd have the support of a lot of the reactors. She doesn't do that. And instead she lumps everybody into the category of haters, because it's so much easier to look at all of us as a monolith, to look at everybody as just people who hate her and who are bullying her and who are just saying bad things about her, than to engage with anything that we have to say, than to engage with us in a real manner and to take what we have to heart.
Oh my god, hold on. Sorry, I got a text. It is what it is. I don't just laugh at nothing, obviously. But
I think that she was laughing at the concept of having to discuss this, not the text.
I don't really have opinions. Like, just the only thing is, like, I feel like if the only way you can make YouTube content and make money is literally making fun of someone else, and that's honestly ridiculous in my opinion, and it sounds like something a 12-year-old would do. So there's a difference between like a drama channel or whatever, but then there's a difference between, hi, I'm gonna make a whole YouTube channel and just react to the same old person over and over. Like, it's just dumb.
Okay, but even if I am reacting only to Amber, which I don't, I talk about Chantal too, but either way, I don't think that really makes much of a difference. Even if I'm just talking about these two creators, I'm not calling you names, I'm not insulting you, and I don't make fun of you. I discuss what I think is wrong with you as a person, in my opinion, and how you could maybe do better. But I don't do any of the other things you're talking about. And yet I still feel like you would paint me in the same light as you would, say, someone who was just on here 24/7, 24 hours a day, just calling you names.
What was the hardest breakup for you to mourn? So I'm going to say Destiny. I've already talked to Becky about this.
Shocker.
And I think it's just because me and Destiny throughout our whole relationship was very affectionate and very physical. And with Becky and I, for the last, couple years, it wasn't like that. So it very much did feel like a roommate situation. So it was, the breakup hurt like so much, but it kind of felt a little bit easier because it wasn't super romantic and stuff like that. So I'm just gonna say Destiny, because with her it was harder because it went from me having someone who was super affectionate and physical with me all of a sudden to not having that. So it was like, whoa.
Yeah, but there was a very short period of time between Destiny and Becky, and you said that the first 2 years Becky was very affectionate with you. So either there was a lot of affection there and you had a lot of that affection and you got over it fairly quickly, in which case it's surprising to me that Becky wasn't first, because engagement versus just girlfriend, or Becky has always been like this and you have just, I don't know, either been lying to us or yourself about Becky's nature.
But if we're just talking about emotionally, it's been harder with Becky because, I don't know. But
do you see how she can't put words to why it's worse with Becky? She should be able to. She should be able to concretely say, this is the reason why it hurts so much more emotionally with Becky than it did with Destiny. But I don't think she's capable of it because it requires self-reflection. Just like she's incapable of admitting what parts of the relationship were toxic because of her, she's unwilling to really engage with this in any way that makes any kind of a difference.
I'm doing okay. Flirting helps. So
I'm sure it does.
It's time to leave the South, pick up and move to California. I don't think I want to go there. I'm thinking maybe like New York.
All right, so here's the thing about moving to California. Unless, I know that some people were discussing in her comment section that like California is too expensive, she'd never be able to afford it. It depends where in California she's planning on moving to. So if she's planning on moving to, like, if you guys know, I have family down there, I visit fairly often. If she is planning on moving to like LA or SF, it might be hard. Even with the money that she makes, her spending makes it difficult for her to really be able to live in those places comfortably. That said, if she decided to move somewhere where it was like less people, I don't know, she could maybe be okay. Like real Northern California, not like the Bay Area, which is just Central California. If you like go up to like some of the smaller towns, maybe along the coast, maybe she could afford to live there. Maybe it could be nice, but I don't think she wants that. I think she wants the LA San Francisco experience. And I don't know if that'll really be affordable to her without some serious budgeting. And I don't know if she's capable of that, to be very frank with you.
That'd be interesting. I'm just kidding. Not really.
Well, she could move to New York. Sorry, I forgot to address that. She could move to New York. New York right now is seeing a little bit of a slump with COVID vis-a-vis move-ins and whatnot, and so the rents are down. So she could probably lock herself into like a few-year deal, and she could at least stay there for a short period of time. That being said, moving from Kansas to New York at her current weight will be so hard. I can't help but feel that one of the major reasons why she's not willing to leave is because, not Kansas, Kentucky, is because she would have a hard time actually doing the move, right? You can hire people to move everything but your own physical body. How are you going to get cross country? To go to New York, a flight would be the easiest path, but can Amber fly safely? At a certain weight, you're just at too high risk of blood clots. So I don't know. And I think that that's one of the biggest considerations for why she isn't moving anywhere right now, or maybe ever.
If this was Becky talking about a wifey on live stream, you'd literally feel so sad. Why are you doing her like that? I'm not doing her like anything. Like, I've been on FaceTime with her and Becky's right there. Like, it's not like some big weird thing. Like, Becky broke up with me. Like, she was over it.
Okay. That's all that I really want to cover from Amber. Becky might have technically broken up with Amber, but Becky didn't break up with her because she didn't love her anymore. Becky broke up with her because they fundamentally wanted different things in life, and Becky wanted to work on herself. And she told Amber as much. So the fact that Amber continues to disregard that is actually really upsetting. Becky broke up with you for a reason. It wasn't something that you cared about, but it was something that she cared about. So if you could just stop belittling that, that would be nice. Secondarily, just because someone is polite enough to not say anything to your face doesn't mean that they are okay with the situation, they're comfortable with the situation, or that they want to talk about the situation. Especially if you still are the financial powerhouse in that relationship. I've said before that I worry about Becky being taken advantage of vis-a-vis financial abuse, and honestly, nothing that I have seen has deluded me from that. And nothing that I have said has pulled me away from that conclusion. I still think that Becky is in dire straits, and I think that she is still at high risk of being taken advantage of by Amber, because I think all the money is in Amber's name, and because they live in a place that probably doesn't. I don't know if Kentucky has it, but if you do know, please let me know down below if they have like common law marriages that would apply to them, or if they have certain laws for cohabitation for partners, long-term partners. Please let me know, but I don't think they have anything like that. So literally she could be left with nothing, despite the fact that she did contribute her time, energy, and effort towards the channel just as much as, Amber did. Anyway, it's just a weird situation. I'll be here watching, and I'll report back to you guys as soon as we know more about Wifey. And yeah, until then, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you guys like this video. Give me a thumbs down if you hated it. That's totally okay. I respect everybody's opinions here. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Hit the notification bell down below and hit all when you want to know when I upload any videos right away. I've got all my social medias linked down below. I've got Instagram, Twitter, and Patreon. Think of Patreon as a tip jar for the internet. So if you like the job that I'm doing here and you want me to continue, hey, consider tossing a few coins in my direction. You don't have to, and it's not necessary, but I would seriously appreciate it. And as always, I'm Jasmine, the sequel, and I am not relatable. Peace. A special thank you to my patrons: Acrophobe, Ariel M, Christina, Courtney EP, Wild Rose, Xanthal, Jam Beans, Colleen L, Debbie Elliott, Just a Jude, Kate O, and D Higgins.